Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Sing Beyond and Through with Monty. Right before you is the legend and Queen Bee herself, the greatest performer around today, Miss Beyonce Knowles Carter. And Miss Beyonce is posing with her beautiful children, Blue Ivy and Rumi. And they're posing in their Ivy Park attire. Beyonce's very successful clothing line. Right here, Beyonce is holding her adorable daughter, Rumi. Now, in looking at this particular picture right here, I see nothing wrong with it. But apparently, a lot of other people did. And what they see wrong with the photo is something that they seem very wrong with, apparently, to them, with the very young Blue Ivy. And that is that people started to say that Rumi looks like her father, Jay-Z. Now, I don't particularly see it, maybe a slight resemblance, but if that is the case, then so what? As if looking like Jay-Z is a bad thing. I don't believe that Jay-Z is ugly or unattractive, and I do not believe that he has ever been. However, I do not really believe that a lot of people believe that with the daughter. But let me explain to you a little farther. See, Beyonce is a worldwide superstar, a global superstar. And she has this appeal that either you love her or hate her. And just like what people did with baby Blue Ivy, they can't really attack Beyonce's looks, her talents, her stardom, her lifestyle. So therefore they go after the children, making statements that she looks like her father, Jay-Z, somehow implying that this beautiful girl right here is unattractive. So basically, as we know, the exact same thing was done for very young Blue Ivy. People went in on her looks and on her hair, all because they have animosity for the mother. Oddly enough, I believe that Beyonce strikes a chord within people deeper than what Jay-Z does. Now, those of you who are saying that the daughters look like Jay-Z, you need to be very careful and really self-evaluate yourself, because when you start saying that Jay-Z is homely or unattractive, by whose standards are you judging him by? Are you judging him by a European standard of beauty, of attractiveness? Are you looking at certain feature affectations, the lips, the nose, the mouth? Are you somehow saying that because he doesn't have smaller this or smaller that, it makes him less attractive? Or does that make other black people who do not have those smaller affectations less attractive? So a lot of times what we consider attractive or beautiful is based upon a conditioning or brainwashing. Now, we all remember this, oh my God, this terrible thing that happened with this baby right here when she was a child. That there were a lot of people going in on her and, stating that she needs to comb her hair. Beyonce should put a conditioner in it. There was a petition going around. And this petition, you would expect from non-white people. You probably would expect more so from men. You probably would expect from other groups of people than the majority of who it was. And that was black women. Now, let me say this much. The vast majority of black women were not involved in this abhorrent behavior. This was a few, but this vocal few made a lot of noise. And this vocal few basically was attacking a baby, online bullying. And it's almost like this few black women who did this love to get up there and say, protect black women, look out for black women, stick up for black women. But yet they don't think anything of bullying a child. They don't think anything of protecting a child. They don't think anything of abusing a child and talking about her looks. There's nothing wrong with her hair. Once again, it goes back to whose standards are we judging black people by? Whose standards are we judging this beautiful black girl by when she was younger? Thank God that she had a very good foundation and her parents who shielded her from this type of online abuse, and it didn't affect her at all. See, Beyonce was raised right. And I believe that she installed a lot of the correct upbringing and shielding in Blue Ivy and in her other children. Because all this hate, I just don't believe that they're going to even see. But I want to tell you something right here, though. Blue Ivy bullied on Twitter for her natural hair. And we remember this, right? Blue Ivy's hair is horrible. I'm all for natural hair, but they don't put an ounce of baby moisturizer on my boo's hair. So they're criticizing Blue Ivy's hair right there. Somebody please give Blue Ivy deep conditioning and proper twist out. Barekashi, what is that, Jenkins? I really do wonder why they don't comb Blue Ivy's hair. It's like it's a specific reason or what? Well, yes, none of your business why. Let's read more. I feel like every time I see Blue Ivy, her hair is not done. Blue Ivy is going to eventually see a comb or brush or hairbrush for the first time and be so confused. Well, they're trying to be funny with that. Okay, I see. I was chilling talking about Blue Ivy's hair, but they really need to do something with that. That really looks like they don't. So basically, of all the things in which they can think about, people really being bad parents these days, abusing their children, mentally, verbal, physical, and they're worried about a billionaire's daughter's hair being combed. And look at Blue Ivy today. For all the people who talked about her hair, talked about her looks, it's almost like she showed them. And it's like Beyonce knew exactly what she was doing. We tend to forget that Beyonce's mother, Tina, was a hairdresser. And Tina oftentimes does Beyonce's hair. So I'm sure that she passed on a lot of skills about proper hair care for children. And the less that she did for Blue's hair, the healthier it became. Look at it now. Now, I want to point out one of the reasons why and show you, people go after Beyonce because they just don't like her. This is on a black blog called The Shade Room. And, you can pick them up on, you can pick out things like this on site or on many black blogs where the majority of the people who are members or who subscribe or who follow are black. It says, so my best friend says Adele would out-sing Beyonce, which I find laughable. I really do. I mean, it's just foolishness to even believe that and say that because they're not really in the same league. But apparently, a lot of black people do not think so. And a lot of black women, not all, but a fair share sided with Adele and believing that Adele was the better singer. You can go back there. It's on the Shade Room. You can read all the comments right there. Just the middle one. Beyonce can sing, but Adele can sing, period. Okay. My question would be, I did a video about Adele maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and my question would be, when has someone like Adele ever been considered a great singer within the black community? Great singers that we have allowed to come in who have been non-black have been people like Tina Marie. Tina Marie's style of singing and Adele's style of singing is completely different. Black people have never favored a singer that has no vibrato. Adele possesses absolutely no vibrato. She has a slight country twang in her voice. Nothing wrong with that, but she's a completely different singer than Beyonce, who has a vibrato. Whitney Houston was legendary. Her vibrato was just out of this world, in another world. Tina Marie has a vibrato. Adele has no vibrato. Phrasing, I just think range, technique. Beyonce is in a whole different league than even Adele. But it just seems like to me that people are choosing Adele simply because they just do not like Beyonce. It's just almost like the hate for Beyonce is just real and it's out there. And it's really for no other reason but jealousy. And people tend to forget that Beyonce made an album, Lemonade, that was focusing on race relations, Black Lives Matter, police brutality, justice in the criminal justice system. Basically, she was advocating for black people. I mean, with all that, kudos go to her for that particular album. And others. I've constantly seen Beyonce put darker skinned black women in her videos. The black women who are really jealous of her tend to forget all about this. Adele's a white female. I don't really expect her to advocate, nor should she, the way that Beyonce advocates for her race of people. But there's no way in the world that someone who has shown a history of uplifting, speaking out for, and bringing light to racial injustices and so forth, that I'm going to downgrade or denigrate and try to uplift another race of people over them. Normalize abuse. Ari Lennox, Blue Ivy, and the quest to make black girls hate themselves. Unfortunately, we as black people, particularly in this case right here, black women, we've got to stop doing this. We've got to stop doing this. Even though I do not believe that you can make someone hate themselves, I do believe that you can put them on shaking foundation and you can't affect their self-esteem. Again, when I say this is not to implicate all black women, because the vast majority was not involved in this. Look at this right here. Black women show off their childhood photos in solidarity with Blue Ivy. Now, this is the way that it should be. Black women showing their childhood photos in solidarity, and black women basically calling out other black women for their behavior, to let them know that this is not cool. Having natural hair, there's nothing wrong with that. We're in a world right now where too many black women are relying on weaves and wigs of other races of women. And you really have to wonder, how does that look to the world where you are declaring yourself to be beautiful by wearing the hair of other races of women? Other races of women who would never in a million years wear your hair. She's just 7. Why Blue Ivy is really triggering people's anti-blackness? Well, that is the reason is because of this woman right here. See, light-skinned women, biracial women, do not really have a problem with black men. Black men are not going to give them any flack, any heat for being lighter skinned or for having a biracial look. Most of their hate is going to come from other black women. White women, for the most part, are not going to think about them. Hispanic women will not think about them. Asian women will not think about them. But black women will. And I believe that a lot of black women obviously are envious and jealous of Beyonce. They cannot attack her looks. They cannot attack her talent. They cannot attack her voice, her singing, or her performance. So what do? They attack her children by making claims that they look like Jay-Z, somehow inferring that Jay-Z is ugly, so therefore the children are unattractive. They think that lighter-skinned women, for the most part, have an easy life, much more easier than them. Many of them are very envious of the life that Beyonce has, of her global superstardom. So this is the reason why they go in on her children. Look at Jay-Z there. I don't think there's anything unattractive about him. Many people would say the hair, but so what? It's that's a sense of freedom. He can style it and grow it out any way he wants. He's his own boss. That must be very empowering. Beyonce likes it, apparently. Look at her lifestyle. This is what people are very envious about. On top of all the beauty that Beyonce has, the talent that she has, she's married to a billionaire. Together, they are a billionaire couple. And that triggers people. It makes people very angry. It makes people very angry that the world over looks at her and sees a very talented woman. But people, a lot of light-skinned women would tell you they do not have as easy a life as darker-skinned women may think, as some darker-skinned black women may think. Many of them would tell you that they go through the very same struggles, hardships, like any other female. A lot of times we elevate people in our own minds, and that breeds resentment, anger, jealousy, simply because we think that a skin color is going to override everything. It's going to override education. It's going to override good decision-making skills. It's going to override a good childhood, good parenting, and it's just going to elevate them into this beautiful sphere or life that creates an unfair advantage to others. Now, is there such thing as colorism within the black community? Of course there is. Do lighter-skinned women, for the most part, benefit from that? Yes, they do. All of them do not. But when you see someone like Beyonce, who apparently is not trying to use her light skin as an advantage, she's not forgetting about her darker skinned counterparts or other black women or other black people who risked their whole career with the Lemonade album. Because I remember a lot of police agencies stated that they were not going to provide security. And I believe the Nation of Islam stepped in and said that we will provide security. I believe that Beyonce got her own security force to provide security for that particular tour. But she didn't change a thing. She did not back down. She did not release the album. I mean, she stayed touring with it. So I think that people need to pick and choose their fights carefully. And sometimes the people who you're showing the greatest animosity and jealousy to is there to actually help you, to make your life better. They're not there to be an adversary, and they're not an adversary of you. They are someone who's bringing attention worldwide to what's going on here to blacks in America. And that's a good thing. It's not at all a bad thing. This is not a very selfish individual that you're looking at. She has raised a lot of money for different causes, for black causes. Many people can be very selfish when they become celebrities, have a mentality of, I'm not going to give back. But that's not Beyonce. Now, I'm not saying this to say that you have to love Beyonce, that you have to accept her as being the greatest singer, the greatest performer, or so forth. But I do believe that it is very cruel to go after her kids because you don't like the mother. And once again, when you start saying her children look like Jay-Z and implying that Jay-Z is somehow unattractive, you really need to dig deep and look as to why you're saying that. Because it could very well point to you being brainwashed and accepting a white conception of beauty that is no more beautiful than an African conception of beauty. Or in this case right here, a Black American conception of beauty. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was another edition of Stand Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.